Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of I Cast Fireball, an actual play 5e D&D adventure where we go through the campaign Tyranny of Dragons. I am Thomas, your DM for this adventure, and around the table we have
Malamara,
Lance Thalen, and Fleeple.
Last we left the Jhank Squad, we kind of left them, well, in a precarious situation. No, an exciting situation where Lance had discovered Vandal exiting the caldera while he was scouting out some of these secret or these hidden lava tubes that go into the caldera itself. Lance broke apart away from Mal and Fleeple, who had decided to use the remaining part of their food to make friends with some of these other chefs, maybe other portions of the camp, and get some more information. So, having split up, Lance being invisible, they were able to go their separate ways. As described previously, Lance had caught wind of Vandal in the camp, heading towards the white camp, or the white area of this entire cultist camp. Eventually, Mal came to join him, but before she did, she had found herself turning a wheel with her recent caught, as the red portion of the camp is a little bit more abrasive than the black portion, and she found herself able to handle her own strength, able to handle her own wheel compared to some of the others around. But Fleeple impressed this gruff Goliath woman chef with a little bit of his fanciness, which may have come from Ned's IRL fanciness as well. So we come back to the Jhank Squad where Fleeple is delivering a wonderfully crafted meal to a member in purple robes while Lance and Mal are outside the white tent. And that is where we jump into this week's episode of I Cast Fireball. So, Jhank Squad, which of you would like to go first?
We'll go first.
great.
All right. Lance and Mal. We leave Fleeple with his well-presented... What would you call it, Ned? I mean, I'm not as fancy as you IRL, or in any universe, so...
Yeah, charbroiled rotisserie venison with bordelaise sauce.
Exactly what Ned said. So we'll leave that for a little bit later down the line. Lance and Mal, we come to you. Outside of the white camp, as you recall, Vandal and his entourage had just recently walked into the white camp and started discussing things with some of the higher-ups who rushed to greet him and rushed to meet him. Lance, you've been observing, and they are just talking. A couple of purple-robed individuals standing around. Mal, you come bustling up stealthily, but at this point, Lance fills you in on the situation. What are you two doing?
Should we follow him and find out where he's staying? Should we follow him through camp? How close do we need to get?
I don't know what I'm doing exactly. I'm following Vandal. He's obviously a mask holder, I would assume now for the white camps. Actually, we knew that. We already knew that he had the white mask. I'm forgetting that. I don't know.
It's been a while.
I know, it's been a while.
Well, let's follow him. I know I'm not as stealthy as you, but he doesn't know who I am. So why don't we just scout it out, and then we'll know where he is if we feel like we need to take some action against him.
I don't know how plausible that will be. I mean, we don't want to create a wall in the middle of the camp. What have you two been doing? What's been going on? I haven't even heard your side.
Well, I just spent the last hour grinding meat over a fire, and Fleeple is ingratiating himself to the higher-ups, which was, part of the plan coming in, so he's right on track.
How's he doing that?
He's Fleeple. Fleeple does what Fleeple does.
That's true, he does too.
That's Fleeple.
That's Fleeple. Thomas, I have an idea. But
Folks, every time Jacob has presented, I'd like a smash cut of every time that Jacob has said something similar.
Work with me, Thomas.
In the
I think I
entire
always say
campaign.
that. Work with me.
I have an idea, nervous chuckle.
What an idea.
So what's the gravity like on this
Is putting all this together, This is just a question I have. If Lance would have this in his mind, was in Lance's past with Vandal, is Vandal a foodie? I didn't write that in depth of a backstory here.
Yeah. Seems like we need to let the dice decide on that one. That's a little bit deeper than the write-up I had on Vandal there.
Actually, I literally wrote, he loves a good Bordelais sauce.
He frequents some of the local food trucks.
He's starting a podcast with some friends later.
Let's see. How likely would Vandal be a foodie?
He's starting a podcast. It's the Xantor Yum podcast.
Xantor Yum. Oh my gosh. Jacob, take an inspiration down.
Finally for puns.
The Xantor Yum. I can't. Oh, wow. That was just too good.
I finally got one for
that
a
was
pun.
too good.
Welcome to the club.
Yay.
Xantor Yum. Okay, yeah, here we go. Vandal is not a foodie.
Okay.
In fact, he really likes his food just... he'll take whatever is given to him almost within reason.
Okay, I had a clever idea maybe to combine both of what everyone was doing, but the fates have decided. Okay, yes, we will follow and figure out what the heck is happening with him. That's what.
All right.
So you're going to stand back, watch from afar here. I'm going to have each of you roll me a d6 first.
We rolled d6s right before we ended last time.
Folks, we absolutely did. I've got them right here.
Maybe I shouldn't have reminded you.
No, I appreciate it. So, with those d6 rolls in mind, I'm going to have each of you roll another stealth check. And since neither of you are proficient in, like, charisma, yeah, they'll just do a normal stealth check.
I have some charisma.
Oh, wait, yeah.
I'm a warlock.
Mal, I will allow you to, well, it just depends on if it's greater than your dexterity. I'll allow you to make a charisma-based stealth roll. Oh, so same difference, basically. Because
I have a
you can either try to find the shadows or you can blend into the crowd, which I feel are two separate things.
Mal will blend while Lance sneaks. And maybe from both vantage points, we'll be able to keep distracted.
I like that distinction. So, like, two different types of stealthing, and then if there is anything to notice, it would be Mal first as opposed to Lance. Especially because Lance, we already know, is going to get 24 no matter what.
Do I get advantage with my boots? I'm so quiet.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no because it is visual here. Xantor Yum. Gosh.
He's gonna be
It sticks
thinking
with you.
about that all
It
night.
does stick with you.
It's catchy.
You're going to get another inspiration in like 2 episodes when he remembers that you said that.
I'm going to be like, oh, like the final battle against like Severin. And you're going to be like, oh, I just remembered Severin. Now, go ahead. Okay. What are your rolls?
34.
A 9?
Oh my gosh.
He can't roll under a 24, period.
So he got a, what'd you say, 39?
34.
What was that, a 19 on the die?
It was a 19 on the die. Because 19 plus 14.
Okay.
Or wait, it was 19, 14, so 33, right?
Okay, 33, yeah. Well, that might make the difference,
What?
you know. Any result over 30.
This dog rolled a 35 for your snets.
Rolled a natural 20 plus 20.
Oh, boy.
Okay. I just got to jot that down. Stealth 33. Okay. So, Vandal is going to monitor the camps. Not monitor. He's going to essentially do what you might consider like a spot inspection. Yeah, he's walking around the camp of the White over here, and he is sort of looking at troops, looking at things. And this one is very more militant, this camp. It's very more structured. You still get like this harsh air, even more so than the maybe equivalent to the Red Camp Malamara, but there seems to be this stiffness and you're not sure if it's being brought by Vandal or if it's just being brought by the people who naturally gravitate towards those who worship and honor white dragons. But there's definitely more tents here. They all are actually beautifully stylized. Almost every single one of them you might mistake to be like a general's tent, because they all are have posts. They're more than just like a sheet thrown over a stick, like you see in cartoons. They're layered even, so they have like an outer layer door and an inner layer to like prevent from dust or the elements from coming in, or to keep heat in or cool in if magic is being used for air conditioning in some of these tents. But it's a very different vibe. Like the points of the tents even stick out jaggedly, almost as if they were the spikes of a dragon or the scales of a dragon itself. But it's very clear that some of these are leaps and bounds above the others. Just if size was any indicator, you could tell that the center tent is where whoever is running this portion is going to be staying. So as you tail Vandal and his entourage here, you find that he is poking his head into some of these tents. You hang back, and he comes back out. You see soldiers, at least they act like soldiers, in the streets here. As Vandal approaches, they stand at attention, some with even spears in the crooks of their shoulders. And they wait until Vandal either inspects them, dismisses them, or until he passes entirely. And you are feeling a little bit out of place, Mal. It's hard for you to blend into something like this because you just expected it to be like everything else. But the more you go in, the more out of place you feel. Lance, you can start picking up on this, and you can start seeing that Mal is a bit uncomfortable, and you even start to notice like Mal might not be able to blend into a crowd, honestly, at least in this portion of the camp. And although everyone's wearing black robes, Mal is starting to stick out the more and more you walk, the more and more you proceed forward. So you were completely hidden, but Mal is starting to stick out. Nothing is coming as a result of this, but you can start to tell this may become an issue if it were to keep going on. Okay.
This could actually work to an advantage. While Mal is sticking out, or, I'm noticing, I just imagine, like, how she's not like, it's a great day to be a cultist. Just like walking around.
Dragons. Keep going, sir. She starts saluting people.
I love dragons. Oh my gosh.
I wish I were a dragon myself. If only I had scales.
Brothers? Brethren?
Okay. Should we try something?
Yes.
Last time I tried something, it didn't turn out very well. Well, I guess we caught the spy, but still. Okay. We're going to try something. Let's do it. As Lance is noticing that, Lance is still stealthily doing his cool stealth thing, is going to approach Malamara, kind of like bring her to the side for a second, like just maybe like to the side of a tent where there's not as much visibility, and be like, Malamara, I just had an idea. I'm gonna be Fleeple. I'm gonna trust my gut here. I'm gonna trust. And don't give me that face, Malamara. Mickey just gave the most like no. Hey.
Oh, I trust you, buddy.
I trust you, buddy.
Flashbacks to the Council of Waterdeep.
Right.
And Lance is going to, let's just try it. Yeah. Lance is going to take off his scarf from the Helm of Brilliance. And what he's going to do is he's going to wrap it around Malamara's neck. Very, obvious. You're realizing, I think this is the first time, really, Malamara will see how long this scarf really is. It is, probably a good, 10 to 15 foot scarf. This is huge. Not your typical scarf. It's very long, and he's going to wrap it around, and it's going to be very obvious. Just make her stick out maybe a little bit more. Not a little bit, a lot bit more. And Malamara will probably even notice for the first time that one of the ends of it has very dried blood on it. Okay, this is what we're going to do. It's in the moment. You are going to make yourself very obvious to Vandal. And I know that you have a skill to run really fast, almost as fast as me. Not quite, but almost as fast as me. And I want him to follow you. And we're going to take him to... and I'll describe very quickly where that outcropping, that cave was. The abandoned cave that most people don't know about. And we are going to try and draw Vandal into there.
Mal closes her eyes quickly and redraws the camp in her mind, in her Outlander mind, and can identify where he's talking about. Are you sure?
No. But this is the best I've got.
What do you want to do when we get there?
I've got another idea for that. And Lance will quickly, because Lance always has scraps of kind of raggedy linen, he'll kind of wrap the helmet a little bit better in that just raggedy linen, just to cover it up still, so I'm not just going through the camp with a bright, shiny helmet. Let's give it a go.
Mal takes a deep breath. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Mal will take the scarf and let the bloody end hang off her back a little bit so that as she runs, it's very easy to see the yellow as she weaves and bobs through people. All right, let's go. And she'll move out into the crowd.
Before we get to this, Fleeple, you're coming to this very large, deep red tent. And it's probably one of the only nice tents that you've seen in the red camp here. And this woman who is sort of not gently ushering you along, she is pushing you forward. And she goes, "All right, fancy one, get in there."
Oh, yes, of course, I will get in there. Just real quick, I don't believe I've asked you for your name. It is terribly impolite of me to not know who I've been speaking with this whole time.
Ah, yeah, my name's Kiki.
Kiki, delightful.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Jürgen Lerman. Remember how to pronounce that. Jürgen Lerman. Remember, geeky man in the corner, remember how to pronounce that.
Jürgen Lerman.
Good, very good, thank you.
Das gut, ja. Jürgen Lerman. I'm jotting this down, Ned. Jürgen Lerman.
Bully your DM, everybody.
All right. Jürgen Lerman. Yeah, all right. Well, good luck in there. And she just turns and she starts walking away as the two guards that are standing in front of this tent are looking at you. One of them kind of goes,
"It smells pretty good."
which this diminutive voice shocks you because it's coming from another Goliath man who is even taller than Kiki, as he has these massive, like, brass knuckles on his fists that had to have been, they each probably was a maul beforehand before they were shaped into these brass knuckles. That's how large his hands look. It looks like he is more giant than he has human in him. So,
oh, well, don't you worry, friend. If I have anything to say about this, you're going to be eating very differently from here on out.
I would really like that.
Yes, very good.
Yeah, all right. You don't have any weapons on you that are... No? You don't? Good?
I think I've got a dagger on me somewhere. Do you want me to get rid of that?
Oh, well, it's, give me a sec. Hey, Harald.
and you look over at this dragonborn who is blind, but is holding on to this staff, looking forward, and goes,
Hey, Harald, why don't you, do your thing?
and he asks you to present the knife to him.
Yeah, I pull out my dagger that I've had this entire time, I guess, and I hand it over.
Harold grabs it and waves his stick over it while muttering something, some incantation, and goes,
This is nothing but a mundane dagger. He should be fine if there are no other weapons upon his body.
Cool.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I guess you're good to go in then, and, I have to say this every time, but, you cause trouble, I'll bust your face in.
Oh, good to know. Yes. Same to you, friend.
Yes, do not cause any trouble.
Okay, fine. Don't worry about me. I'm just trying to improve things around here.
Okay, well, good luck.
And as I walk in through the tent flap, I'm snickering to myself, being like, they didn't ask me about my moonsicle. And yeah, just continue on my way through.
All right. When you get into this tent, there's a couple of individuals. As you walk in here, you are not alone. There are quite a few individuals milling about. There's actually a couple drakes in here, 2 drakes, sort of like lazily just like flicking their tails off in the corner as they're trying to catch a nap. But it looks like there seems to be some discussion, almost like a war room discussion going on in here. Like I said, this tent is fancy and it's quite large. It houses maybe 8 individuals. At least there are 8 individuals in here with this long oak table in the center. And you almost drop the plate you're holding because one of the individuals at the table is Severin himself.
Oh, cool. Wow. Yeah, great.
Severin is currently the acting Red Worm speaker for the Cult of the Dragon for the time being.
Nice.
And so this meal is for Severin.
Oh boy. Yeah. Wonderful. Lovely. Delightful.
So you walk in and you look, and it's not just Severin. There are 3 Wizards of Thay in here, and there appear to be 2 other members in purple robes, and then 1 guard who seems to be close by Severin's side, looking at everybody else. So yeah, that's kind of the makeup as you see in the room. Nobody really seems to notice you for the time being, though. So what do you do?
I do not wish to cause a kerfuffle, so I will begin, preparing. I've got presumably like some sort of trolley with me that has the food on it. So I'm like getting the plates. I'm carving the roast beast and plating everything
from
up.
The trolleys, dears.
And next to each slice of venison, a little pumpkin pasty and a chocolate frog. And while I'm preparing this meal, I'm just listening to see if there's any interesting conversations going on.
Moonbeam.
Okay.
Moonbeam. It worked last time.
Right. It worked on Mondath. Okay. So, what is going to happen here? So, I need you, Fleeple, to roll me a d6. Nope, you already rolled a d6, and I took that into account. Thank you for reminding me. Nobody.
You're welcome.
Other than Jacob.
Sorry.
No, that's good. Yeah, so with that d6 in consideration, I need you to roll. What do you want to do? Do you want a blend-in check here? So it's going to be some sort of like stealth, but is it like a status stealth, because you're just a servant, you're bringing in the food here, and so I'm just making sure everything's prepared well. Maybe another social stealth roll if you want over your dexterity. I know not everybody's charisma is the best in our party here, so if you want a charisma-based stealth roll, you can roll that. If not, I will allow you to roll a normal stealth roll here.
Yeah, I'll go with the normal stealth roll. That seems like a better idea.
I figured as much.
Oh, that's a 12.
12, okay. I'm going to roll, but we will see what occurs from that. Okay, so you are making sure that everybody has their chocolate frogs, that all of the plates are nicely set, and you don't just want it to be a slab of meat on there. You're not quite sure if you should serve the Thay Wizards. Thay Wizards are notoriously undead, but you're like, well, I'll do it just in case. Just in case, not to cause offense, unless Fleeple would rather do another. Regardless, you start to go a little bit slower than maybe you would normally be to try and pick up on some conversation. So this is what you do hear. You hear some discussion between Severin and the Thay Wizards. And it appears that the temple is coming up nicely, you say. Is that right?
Yes, Severin, the temple is almost completely breached through from the other side. In fact, I would say the temple itself would only need a couple of days at most to come into this realm of existence. Now, however, as we've discussed previously, for full potency in maintaining and making sure the rift is held securely, my team, or rather my colleagues and I, would prefer the final phase we would prefer a few extra days to prepare, to ensure that the potency is great. Yes, I know all about your cautious nature to ensure that this portal remains open. I would not have it any other way, as especially since we don't have that dreadful army bearing down on us that is coming from the west. No, I think we should be fine to take those few extra days, but I am encouraged to hear the temple is almost fully here. In fact, I would like to take a tour of it myself when it is safe, of course. Yes, Severin, when the temple is completely secure and our wards have been removed and tied off appropriately, we will, of course, bring you through for a final inspection, you might say. Would that be appropriate? Yes, I feel that might be an appropriate way to put it. And the general air you feel is just one of very tense cooperation amongst the entire table, which you absolutely picked up on 2 months ago, and it seems to have been maintained, if not increased, just a little bit here. It's at this time that one of the Fey wizards points to you and goes,
You, halfling,
Yes.
why do you tarry with our food? Bring it here.
Oh, I apologize. I just wish to make sure that everything is set up correctly. And I start bringing around the plates, the silverware. Do they have napkins included here?
Poof, yes, they do.
Okay, cool. Yeah, making sure that, like, I've to kind of delay things a little bit longer, I've been folding the napkins into, like, little paper crane style origami things. And I'm, like, bringing them all around the table and just being as hospitable and servile as I can be.
Okay. You have bought yourself a few more minutes here to listen in on some of this conversation. One of the other Thewizards, the one that hasn't spoken yet, goes, Now, Severin, I don't wish to impose anything, but some of these individuals that you've brought to us, or rather, the final phase, they seem to be varied, of all different races, all different ages, sizes, and as we know, they all come from a checkered past. The types of people we were looking for are the more pure, are the more unadulterated in very nature, and yet you don't seem to have done any background checking on that itself. So, is there any guarantee that we could find any more individuals externally to bring in that might be able to strengthen that potency of that rift? Severin goes, I have done all that you have requested. I have brought you more than what you've asked, just in case it wasn't enough. And you're telling me that you can't make do with the extra work that my men have put in? And what we have brought to the table, you can't make do with that? I thought they wizards were better than that. And there is a visible ruffling of feathers from the one Fey wizard, who has then now clamped their mouth shut and whose tattoos are protruding almost... you can see them almost protruding out of their skin. The frustration is so strong, and you see them start to glow a little red, ever so faintly, only because your perception is insanely high. Do you see this? Mm-hmm. And then the first one speaks again. Rest assured, with those extra days, we should be able to open and maintain such a rift, Severin. My colleague here is just used to a more sacrificing population to choose from. So, rest assured, we can
accomplish the task with what we are given.
And it's at this point you are now serving the food. And Severin himself turns to you, Fleeple, and goes, I have to say I've never seen you before. What's your name?
Jürgen Lerman.
Jürgen Lerman. Where do you hail from, Jürgen?
Well, I was born in Waterdeep. My family does not entirely know where we came from before that. It's a bit of a melting pot sort of situation over there.
Yes, your accent is quite strong, though. I would have taken you maybe were from the southeast from here. No matter. What is this that you have made? It looks rather different than what Kiki normally makes.
Yes, well, this is, pardon me, my upbringing is one of hospitality, and I wanted to present something a little special for you. An associate of mine has made sure to roast this side of venison very carefully so as to not overcook it, so it retains its tenderness and its juiciness, and I have constructed for you a sauce of my people, one that is our favorite. And before I actually ladle the sauce over the top of the venison, I mount it with a bit of butter at the last moment to add some gloss and some shine and some body, and then pour it over with kind of a flaring gesture and give a little bow as I slide the plate over.
I'll allow you to roll a performance check with advantage there, Fleeple.
Ooh, baby.
A lot of prep work went into this beforehand, so now in the moment you have a lot of your resources to back you up in this presentation.
Yes, and that is a modded 20.
Modded 20. As you drizzle the sauce on and flare, it has the beautiful shine to it. You give it to Severin. He doesn't touch it. You just merely place it on the table in front of him with the beautiful napkin. The guard comes up, and with the just a little edge of the knife, he dips into the sauce, puts it in his mouth, cocks his head, like raises his eyebrows, like, that's dang good. And but he tries a piece of every single bit of food, while Severin is continuing to converse with you. I must say, this is quite surprising that Kiki would allow anyone near her cooking implements there. How did you ever accomplish that?
I just presented my abilities, made myself available, and was availed of them.
You said your name was Jürgen?
Jürgen Lerman.
Jürgen Lerman. At that point, the guard is done tasting the food, nods his head, and Severin himself turns and very delicately, very you're almost surprised at how delicate and how proper he is with his instruments, and he cuts off a piece of each, and he just very correctly starts to eat this food. It seems like with the barbaric nature of the Red Camp, you would assume that maybe Severin wouldn't have this type of nature, but it seems to be a very proper individual. Maybe one of the reasons that brought him up to the higher ranks here, to the Worm Speaker himself. And as he takes a bite, he chews slowly, just a small bite with a little bit of sauce on it, and goes, Jürgen, sets his fork down. If that's not the best things I've tasted since I left Baldur's Gate, I don't know what is, as he's looking off into the distance away from you.
Oh boy.
Thank you, Jürgen. And he turns away from you, and you feel really good, really proud of this accomplishment. And you see the three Fey wizards looking at you as well, as they're just staring at you, not quite sure what to make of you and how to take you in.
I bow very, very deeply, and I just say, this is a great honor to my family, my lord, and I will prepare the rest of the plates and distribute them to the remainder of the individuals at the table.
Great. I'm just going to roll something on my end here. Okay. You were able to present the plates to everyone else without issue, and after the last plate has been, it seems that everyone has taken to eating and have just been, the conversation has turned to unimportant matters, actually. It doesn't look like they're discussing much. It looks like more they're commenting on the food itself, and Severin is talking about a little bit about his time and some of the food he's eaten in Baldur's Gate, and there's even a little bit of chuckling from some of the individuals. The Fey Wizards are eating politely, but they seem to have little to no emotion on their face. You are expected and you are dismissed after the final plate has been delivered, and so unless you wish to rebuff this request, you are asked to leave the tent.
It is in my upbringing to be here to clean up afterwards, but if you wish me to leave, I may do so.
Yes, Jürgen, you will have Kiki do all the dirty work. Thank you for the meal, but you are excused.
Thank you.
And yes, you are ushered out, and the male Goliath outside was like,
Hey, you were in there for quite a while. Everything seemed to go pretty good. Or was it bad?
It went better than I was expecting it to be completely honest.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad. I'm glad I didn't have to crash your face in.
Yes, I am glad not to have my face be crushed.
Okay, well, just don't do anything that will cause me to break that skull of yours, okay?
And the same to you.
what? As you quickly turn around and walk away, he goes, all right, what?
You too.
And I'm just doing a little, not quite skipping, but kind of a dancing, like a little strut in my step as I'm heading back to the food preparation tent, I suppose.
All right, sounds good. Okay. So with that having been done, Fleeple, you're going back to Kiki and you're kind of chilling here until Mal and Lance come back?
Indeed.
Or you hear word from them?
Yeah, I am hoping to be able to help with the cleanup afterwards. That's what I say to Kiki, just to continue to ingratiate myself to them.
Ha! Well, you're eager to kiss some cheeks, aren't you? Well, fine, you can stick around.
All right.
All right, and we will jump on over to Lance and Mal. So, Mal, you're doing it.
I'm doing it. Right before stepping out back into the thoroughfare, Mal reaches underneath the scarf to her robe and pulls up a hood to disguise her face so that all that he can see is just a black robe, a hood with the scarf, and she will cast mirror image on herself. And so 4 Malamaras step out into the thoroughfare, and Mal will follow Vandal for a little bit and watch the way that he's interacting with people before she finds a right moment to cross his path.
Okay, now mirror image is only a minute, right? Oh boy, Crunch Squad.
It probably is. Oh, what the heck? I have it. If I just flip my page, I don't have to look in the book.
It lasts for 1 minute. I imagine you'd want to wait to use this
wait
until the right
the
moment.
Right?
Okay. So you're going to wait until you are about to cross his path and maybe cast the spell. Am I understanding right? Just to grab his attention. Is that it?
Yes. She'll just cross in front or near him enough to catch his attention. She won't interact with him or anything.
Okay. Simple enough. No roll needed. It's pretty brazen and pretty bold what you're doing here. A moment does come where he's done talking and he's starting to turn maybe towards a path, so you rush forward, and as you rush forward you like throw the scarf a little in the air so the wind might catch it, and at that moment you cast mirror image. I'm going to roll from Vandal's side just to see his reaction, see what happens. So here we are. So I believe I mentioned at this point, before we get to Vandal seeing it, being in the White Camp, some of his entourage has left, right? Like he's already had some distinct conversations with members of the Purple Robes. He's gone in doing some spot checks. Some of his entourage has been dismissed because they're no longer needing to protect him as he's walking to and from camp. So he only has 2 guards side by side because he's in his home turf right now, right? And it's at this moment you cast mirror image, and he stops in his tracks, and his hood has already been down. But Lance, you see that he is frozen as he's seeing something in front of him, at which you see Mal pop, and so there are 4 versions of Mal now that have the yellow scarf blowing and it's all the same image. And Vandal doesn't yell, but you see him almost immediately gesture towards Mal, to one of his guards, and the guard immediately unslings a bow and is going to try to fire at Mal.
In the middle of the thoroughfare? Wow.
In the middle of the thoroughfare.
Does she have like partial cover potentially with all the people walking back and forth?
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll do partial cover here. I'm not going to initiate. Normally, I would do initiative right here, but for this story beat, I'm going to have this attack not be because your back is turned, Mal. But yeah, I am going to give you partial cover. We'll just give you +2, I believe, to your AC. But we'll see if he even hits you, right? So here we go. It's a natural 20.
Whoa.
Wow.
So still has to see if it hits you or the mirror image itself.
Does it hit you?
With a natural 1, when I just had to get 6+, it hits Mal and not one of her illusions.
No way! So it's... I don't think this has ever happened before in ICF at all.
Ever.
Every time you cast mirror image, it's always been like, boom, 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 boom. You get like 3 free attacks against you.
It's so easy to hit.
Oh my gosh.
Nope, that's a natural one.
I'm so excited right now.
Boy.
Mickey's face. Okay, so I'm going to roll damage here.
Your job's not to win, it's to lose gracefully.
You're just supposed to follow me.
That is 22 points of piercing damage. Rolled almost max damage on that. And it's the image is a little bit weird because you see the arrow go towards one of the images and it goes right into Mal's shoulder and she goes, ugh! And all 4 now have an arrow sticking out of their right shoulder as they grip onto their shoulders, and they all kind of, it's this weird like fuzzing, and all the images sort of like come into Mal before they burst out again. Mal, I believe the plan was to run as soon as you got his attention. Is that right? Or were you going to...
She's going to continue walking until she is sure that he is following her. So even with the arrow in her shoulder, she's going to grit against that pain and continue walking as if nothing has happened.
Nothing has happened. Oh, bold. As you now are injured and holding, Lance, you immediately see Vandal start to walk. Well, before the arrow even goes off, actually, you see Vandal start to go right towards her. Just start power walking towards her, hand on his sword. Just step, 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 walking towards you. And Mal, you can start, as you grip on your shoulder and glance behind you, you see Vandals coming at you.
So right when he is about a breath away from reaching out and being able to grab her, Mal will rage with the Totem of the Eagle. But Mirror Image is not a concentration spell, so all 3 of her images stay. And the scarf takes on a quality that before her rage was fueled by Air 2 and had a greasy, ethereal feel to it. Instead, another piece of the scarf comes loose and the wings come back behind her using Callie's scarf. A phantom scarf wings.
Oh.
And she grips the front of it and she whispers into the scarf, "Come on, Callie, let's do this for him." And she starts weaving in between people, being aware of where Vandal is and not getting too far ahead. But the Totem of the Eagle, you become a predator. You can weave through the fray with ease, is what the book describes it as.
Nice. So you weave in through people, in and out, trying to draw him towards that cave or that tunnel.
Correct.
Right? Do you get extra speed by chance, or is it still your... I mean, you already have a lot of speed.
I do. I can take a dash as a bonus action. So I can move 40, 80, 1... whatever 80 is plus 40. 120.
You got it. 120.
Took me a second. But she's not going to move. She's not sprinting. She needs to stay within his range, but she's using the spirit of the eagle to weave between people, not drawing attention. She's not crashing into people, and a straight run would draw too much attention to herself. And so she's using the spirit, the totem spirit of the eagle, to weave in between people while keeping Vandal on her tail.
So I'm going to give an inspiration to you, Mickey, because I actually had in my mind, I was like, okay, but if she gets too far away from Vandal, something, he's going to
lose interest.
X, Y, or Z.
Mm-hmm.
So, well done. That's really good because I rolled to see if he could, like, a saving throw.
How fast he was moving?
To see how he was going to react to seeing Callie's scarf. And he rolled a 5. And so he did not save against his intelligence or wisdom saving throw. So he is intently pursuing as the mouse is right in front of him. So he is weaving. His guards are trying to keep up with him as well. And Lance, you see this all happening.
And Lance is following kind of with a little bit of distance behind to keep track of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is going on for, if you recall, that hidden lava tube. It's quite a ways. It is quite a ways. And so I am going to have us roll a d6. I'll put myself at... Ned, I'll have you roll for me in this instance. But Jacob, Mickey, and Ned, each of you roll a d6 just because it is going to be some distance away just to see what's going to happen between here and there. I'm considering Lance stalking stealthily, and I'm considering Mal's clever maneuvers here with the totem of the eagle. But let's go have everybody roll so we can have the dice help us figure out this narrative beat.
It's a 5 for me.
It's a 5 for me.
4 for me.
Great. Sounds good. So for the first long while, it is just a weave back and forth. Mal, you have a lot of opportunities to break out of the crowd here, but every time that you could break out and maybe go behind some tents, you make the conscious decision to go right back in because you don't want to keep drawing that attention to yourself. I imagine you pull the arrow out at some point, right?
Could I petition to leave it in and take bleed damage to continue the rage?
Ooh, clever.
Fair.
That's so clever.
And the blood on the ground is a trail for where she's going.
That's so clever.
I'm gonna roll for this because it's not really in.
I know it's not in the mechanics, but
unless you're literally like jamming in the arrow into your back, you can't control the persistent pain sometimes. But so I'll go ahead and roll and see the likelihood of that. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, for this section, we can say persistent bleed damage. So you are going to take quite a bit of bleed damage, 1 point per round. Let's just have it. I know at this point, rounds are kind of out the window here, and so yeah I'm just gonna roll a flat amount here. So we'll say it's only 10 points of damage. I rolled the lowest I could on that. So yeah, it's 10 persistent damage. Therefore, your rage is still maintained as a result. But because we still have this going on, some of the guards are going to try and catch up to you, and one of them, when they get a shot, they're actually going to try and take another shot at you with their bow and arrow. So I'm going to have them roll to attack again. Yeah, that's only a 15 to hit, unfortunately. So
a 15 misses.
Yeah, so Vandal, he like whispers something to his guard, and his guard is looking for an opportunity. And instead of an arrow, he raises a crossbow and just over to you, and just you feel it go past your ear.
So does it hit somebody else?
It doesn't hit anybody else, unfortunately. I don't know. It doesn't hit anybody else.
Jurgen!
You're shooting into a crowd.
Severin himself. Yeah, so, but he, as soon as he sees that it misses, he calls off his guards, but stop that, don't do that. Lance, I will have you roll a stealth check, even though I know it's probably just going to be a 24, but let's go ahead and just have you roll.
It's 24.
There you go, okay. I'll have us roll one more d6 here before we approach the lava tubes. And so, Ned, if you wouldn't mind rolling that as well, for my sake. And then Lance and Mal here.
Another 5.
3 for me.
A 1 for me.
A 1. Okay, sounds good.
But 1s are good for this.
So, as this is occurring...
Could I propose something? If it's going to be, because I don't know if this is good or bad, the 1, but if it might have a negative effect, could I use the inspiration?
I will not allow you use of inspiration. Because if it is bad, then you will still have an opportunity to use inspiration, possibly. This is just to help describe narrative story beats to help us react to it. So yeah, we're going to keep moving forward with this. And you are getting close to the lava tubes, and Mal, you actually do come across it easily with your Outlander background, easily with your tracking. You're like, oh, this is off the path. This is a little bit hidden. And as you get more into the open, I'm going to roll again another percentile to see if you persistently bleed here. You have not kept the persistent bleed damage up to this point. So your rage, unless you have maintained it, is gone, but you have not taken persistent damage, which is also good and bad things. But you are coming up on the lava tube here, and they are starting to close some distance. But the lava tube, as I described to Jacob or Lance in the past, it is a little bit open, so it's not in the camp itself. It's just a distance away. I'm kind of thinking like if you've seen Raiders of the Lost Ark. If you've watched the movie, you know that Indy, he starts digging very close to another dig site. And I was like, how does that other dig site not see them digging? That's kind of like that distance that I'm imagining this lava tube is away from the camps. So probably 150 feet away. Something you could see if you were watching somebody, but nobody's watching. So Mal, you are quickly, as you get into the open, speed walking, maybe even running a little bit to get to that lava tube. And it's at this point that you hear another arrow get launched towards you. I'm going to... no, bad. It's just it's a 10. So that's another miss there. And it goes into the dirt beside you here. It's at this point, Lance, you are only 60 feet behind. And Mal, you duck into this lava tube here. And you're trying to draw them into this lava tube. And Vandal and his 2 guards, Lance, you see, are now running. They're sprinting to the lava tube itself. I'll have you roll one more stealth check just to make sure you don't roll a 1 here narratively, but I imagine...
You had to say that, didn't you?
Did you roll a 1?
I did, but I will use my inspiration.
There we go.
There you go. There's where it's at.
Don't roll a 1.
That is going to be a 31.
Could you imagine Vandal turned around and saw you right now?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so... reliable talent and inspiration coming in clutch here. So they run into the lava tube. You run into the lava tube afterwards. And Mal, you can hear Vandal screaming at you.
Callie, if that's you, I swear you'll never see the light of day again.
And Lance, you hear that as you run into the lava tube as well, not close behind them.
Are we in? We're in the lava tube.
Yeah, I was going to say, we
You're in
described
the
the
lava
lava tube.
tube.
There's darkness in front of us and darkness behind us, except
It's
for the...
just it's absolutely complete darkness. The Lance, you're the one closest to the entrance, so you can see some light. And so Mal, as you turn around, you see these 3 figures, and then down the way, you see the silhouette of Lance coming into the lava tube.
So Mal will trot to a stop with her back to him as he approaches. And the 3 other Malamaras melt into the ground.
And then, Lance, as you come in, you hear that.
Yeah, I'll respond behind, and I'll just be kind of raising my voice, but not like shouting. It's raising my voice, obviously, to hear, because you can hear easily in this lava tube. Just saying,
Vandal, are we afraid of ghosts now?
Vandal and his guards stop in their tracks. Slowly, Vandal turns around. And as you can see, his grizzled face that has come from years of deceit, battle, bad deals gone sideways. For the first time in your life, Lance Thalen sees fear on Vandal's face.
and seeing that, Lance will reach up, uncover his hood to show the Helm of Brilliance, and just say,
I've got a little more protection this time. I cast Fireball.
and I will cast Fireball.
And that is where we're going to end this week's episode of I Cast Fireball.
The non-spellcaster finally did it.
We're in such a small team.
You guys have the hit points for it. You'll
And
be
you got
fine.
distance. We're spacing it out.
No, I'm standing right next to him.
No, you're not. I thought in the description you had said you were ahead of him, slowing to a jog. Well, I can center the point.
We will
I
determine
can center
exact
the point. I'll figure it
distances, volume, fire. We'll deal with all of that next time on I Cast Fireball. Oh, what a great episode!
Great plan, Jake.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we've got Fleeple serving Severin, trying to ingratiate himself with the man himself.
Oh my gosh, that was
the
crazy.
evil incarnate.
I wasn't trying to. It just happened that way.
That was the
That's
best
true,
part.
You let the dice decide which camp you were going to, and then you decided to come to the red camp, and it just, it's fate is wonderful sometimes. And Lance bringing Vandal out, such good stuff.
Worry not. I still have shenanigans to do. Once this all starts winding down a little bit.
I was planning. I was like, we got to text Fleeple. We got to get him in. And I'm like, but as soon as Tom was like, and Severin's there, I'm like, maybe.
Yeah, and then he was like, I'm going to stay and clean up.
If
And I was like,
Fleeple's really
okay.
getting with the higher ups, maybe that's something to leave him to.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much. Well, Jacob, Ned, Mickey, as always, thank you for bringing your A game. Thank you for having such wonderful moments, wonderful plans. Man, just so many good moments tonight. I'm truly humbled to be your dungeon master because you're the ones that make this podcast amazing. And you're the reason why people keep coming back, quite honestly. But listeners, thank you for keep coming back, for coming to listen to these fun shenanigans and fun plans going off. And if you like what we're doing, please leave us a 5-star review on the podcatcher of your choice. Reach out to us through our email, icastfireball2020@gmail.com, or our social medias at icastfireball20 on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Also, our Patreon. We have our Discord, our Patreon exclusive Discord channel, where you can go to patreon.com/icastfireball20. Join one of the tiers, and you can either get extra bonus content where we have bloopers, we do our warm-ups, or some thought-provoking questions that we answer, or you could join our Discord, where we have some amazing stuff going on, teasing some future episodes. Go check that out. Before we move on from here, we want to do some shout outs, not only to our sister podcast Improv Tabletop, where Ned takes a turn as a GM and has amazing campaigns. They're going back into Fate. It's so exciting. I am looking forward to listening to those crazy shenanigans, in the words of Ned or Fleeple there. It's going to be a ton of fun, and those are completely improvised. If you don't know what improv is, go check them out and you will find out very quickly. We also want to shout out some people who reviewed or shot us an email here. The first one is Robbing81. Robbing says, I am a relatively new D&D player, playing since 2019, and when I started playing, I got hooked on Critical Role. The only problem, I wanted to listen to it while driving, but I have kids. If any of you ever heard Critical Role, well, you know the language and innuendos, how they can get. But iCast Fireball gives the same stellar storytelling and endearing characters as Critical Role does, but without the foul language. Robbing81, thank you so much for the review. We are so excited. They said they're only on episode 7, and them and their kids are hooked. So, got quite a while before you're going to hit this shout out, but when you do,
It'll be there
reach
for
out
you.
to us again. Yeah, or maybe it'll be really quick. I don't know. Some people go through these episodes very quickly. So, Robbing81, thank you so much. And lastly, we want to shout out William, who sent us an email saying that their friend just introduced them to D&D a few months ago, and so they're a beginner, and it has been great to familiarize themselves with the rules and how to get around the rules as well, which I'll attribute to all of my players here, figuring out how to get around all of these rules. But William, if you haven't looked at those Crunch Squad episodes, glad that you're along for the ride and learning with us as well. So thank you, William, for shooting us a message. Lastly, everybody, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends and fellow wacky adventurers. But until next time, I'm Thomas, your DM, and around the table we have
Malamara.
Lance Thalen.
And Fleeple.
Let's keep that fire going, and we'll see you all next time.